G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment and subscribe. And yes, I am burnt out. I've worked all day. It's 2 o'clock in the morning and I can't even focus, but I need to make this video, okay? It is 2 months away from the single most important sporting event of this decade, and that is the Lions Tour. And everybody knows when the Lions Tour comes around, the Northern Hemisphere media, all right, are gonna run these stupid articles, right, about, how the combined power of friendship and kingdoms and isles will come together and we're gonna go down south and, you know, bash the Southerners for some trophies and come home and enjoy our glory, okay? Let me tell you something, guys. That is not happening this year in my backyard, okay? That's not happening. And articles like this just riles me up. Now, let me ask you something. My wonderful viewers, you are smart, right? I know you are smart because I read all your comments. Tell me, have you ever seen the lion mow down a wallaby before? Huh? Have you? Of course not. Because the lion cannot swim across the Indian Ocean to hunt down a wallaby. Okay? Now, just like the actual lion, which failed to evolve the ability to swim across the Indian Ocean, the Lions rugby team, they're going to come down to to Australia and find out the hard way that despite all their fancy salary, despite all their big money, you know, coaches and supporting staff and fancy jerseys, none of that, because it's going to help them beating the wallabies. And let me tell you, just like the lion that has never been able to hunt down a wallaby because their inability to swim across the Indian Ocean, the Lions team this year will find out that no matter how good they think they are, the wallabies will not go down easily in my backyard, in this beautiful country, most beautiful country in the world, Australia, okay? Now, let's go through this article, okay, and look at who exactly Mr. John Ferguson thinks are gonna mow down the wallabies. By the way, John, this guy, Henry Pollock, is one of the 5 guys you named, and you can see he's like smaller than old mate Hooper here, right? My boy Hooper, it's already bigger than your guy. And you think he's gonna mow the wallabies? You're gonna put out a picture where your guy is actually smaller than my guy? Yes, you guys, you can tell the Northerners are not that smart when it comes to these sort of things, right? I'll probably put a picture where, he's standing up against Nick White or something, but hey, Hooper is already bigger than him, already won the fight there. And of course, the first guy he names, it's gonna be an Australian. Tuipolotu, yeah, if he's not injured, I guess he might play, but I don't think he's gonna mow anybody. He's let go from the Rebels for a reason, right? I mean, okay. The Northerners, right? Maori told you, highly doubt. I know he's the captain, right? I mean, if Kalen Doris wasn't injured, he's probably gonna be put in this spot, right? You know that. You know that's a fact. If Kalen Doris wasn't injured, this name here would have said Kalen Doris, right? I mean, yeah, that's the Northern Hemisphere news for you. That's the loyalty. That's how far the loyalty can actually go for the Northerners for you, right there. You know this is going to be Kalen Doris if he wasn't injured. Okay, moving on. Next guy. Duhan van der Merken. And another Southerner who actually lived in somewhere where there could be lions. Okay, I see what you're doing, but okay, of course, that's not actually one of your guy, but okay. Moving on. Ty Burn. Okay, that is Irish, I'm pretty sure that's Irish guy. Yes, Ty Burn's Irish guy. And he's not a South African import, is he? Okay, okay, fair enough. Second, okay. But then, okay, but, have you seen, I mean, Ty Burns like what, like 195, maybe 2 meters tall, but have you seen a guy named Will Skelton? He's actually, like 220, like what, like this 220, like a foot taller than this guy? Again, I don't think Ty Burns gonna mow any wallaby. Just the fact that he's like a foot shorter than Will Skelton. So I don't know. Let's move on. Okay, let's move on. Big stretch, but okay, maybe that's the tallest people you can see in, you know, the British and Irish Isles. They're pretty short people there. They haven't ever seen like actual tall people, so maybe they think that he's big enough to mow down Will Skelton, who's like a full taller than him. But anyway, let's move on. Henry Pollock again. This is a guy you just showed in the picture before, right? This guy, never heard of him before, and already he's like smaller than smaller than Hooper, my guy. So I don't know how he's gonna mow anybody, being like, again, much smaller than any of our players. And they mentioned here, in fact, that he's 188 centimeters tall, saying that he's actually really tall for a second rower, right? He's taller than Ben Earl and Tom Curry. I mean, obviously, Ben Earl and Tom Curry are both midgets, right? They're like, you know, 183 and 185. Like, that's basically chodes in the world of rugby, right? Like, you know, if you look at the Wallabies, we've got, you know, Fraser McRae, it's like, what, 195? We've got, Rob Valentini, 194. I mean, Harry Wilson, like, what, 2 meters tall. I mean, Englishman, right? I mean, what do you mean? Like, how do you, say that I'm wrong, but hey, seems like all the guys you named are pretty small. I don't know how you're gonna maul anybody with tiny little midgets coming onto the field like this. But hey, you know, it is Northern Hemisphere media for you guys. Let's move on, right? Let's move on. Next up, oh yeah, I just want to show you. Yeah, this is look at this magnificent beast that we call him, Big Willie. He's Big Willie, my Big Willie. I love this Big Willie. He's the best, and he's the biggest Willie in the world as well. 2 meters and 20 centimeters tall, bigger than any of the Lions that's gonna come over. And yeah, there's a chance that he will be selected for the Lions tour because Joe Schmidt has again forgone the selection restriction rule for the Lions tour. He will be open to selecting any player around the world that is qualified to play for the Wallabies, which is good. Something that he did do in November Test Series, but he restricted himself from doing that in last year in July. So this year he will not be restricting himself, and he will be bringing home the Big Willie to the Lions tour. And also, speaking of Big Willie, James O'Connor, the guy that played in the previous tour, okay, he played in unlike the Northerners who gets a tour every 4 years, he only gets a tour every 12 years, okay? He played in the tour 12 years ago, okay? So this guy, I mean, he was young back then, and I don't think he did a good job last time, but anyway, he's back this year. I think in fact, didn't he get like in trouble for like drinking or something after the game? And that was his downfall. I think the Lions tour was actually his downfall, but hey, he wants to redeem himself. He's actually talked about the desire to play for the Wallabies again at the Lions tour, and there's a possibility with Noah Lolesio injured, so there's a possibility that James O'Connor might actually come back as a reserve for the Lions tour, and that'll be good to see. And by the way, his name is not Jock, or like Jock Campbell or something. His name is Rabbit, okay? His name is Rabbit. His nickname is Rabbit, okay? Don't call him Jock, call him Rabbit. And he will like that. So yeah, again, Northerners don't even know the name of the players. Of course, you would expect that. And then we've got, some bad news from Rugby Australia. Joseph Asuku Suaalii. This is a bit serious. So he on the weekend, it was a tackle. He went in, smacked his knee on his own teammate, Andrew Callaway. Not just teammate of Waratahs, but teammate of the Wallabies as well. And broken his jaw. He has a fractured jaw. And it's going to be 4 weeks out. I mean, if you're Anton Dupont, you really want to play for the Lions tour, you'll be fine. Just put on a headgear and come back and play. But I think he will be fine after 4 weeks. There's some talks about even when he comes back, they should like sort of like keep him wrapped in a bubble and not let him play to prevent him from injury. But Joe Schmidt was saying, no, he's going to go down and play, which I agree. I think he still lack a lot of game time. There's no very unpolished. He's very, very talented, but still lack the experience. And like when he gets the ball, he's like super amazing. But just like sometimes getting him the ball, getting him in the right position, reading the game still needs to be improved. But I really hope that they don't just put him in a bubble and they get him out there, have some more game time, and hopefully he's gonna be okay. Suaalii. Another bad news for the Wallabies, as I already mentioned, Noah Lolesio. This was actually pretty horrible. He got like folded in a clean out from a ruck, and it looked like he may have broken his back at the time. He did have a lower back injury. He was taken off on a stretcher. He was moving after the game, so it's reported that he's got a lower back injury. Not sure how bad this was. Probably, yeah, it's probably muscular. Hopefully, it's just muscular issues that it's going to be able to recover from, and not like a fracture or anything that could put him in danger. But yeah, it's really, really sad. Hopefully, he's going to be okay. Lolesio, he won't be playing this weekend, but again, just an injury, and hopefully, it's not too serious. Moving on, yeah, Joe Schmidt has talked about the naming of the big team, the Wallabies. That's going to come up just at the end of Super Rugby season. So he wants all the players to give it all till the end of the season, and not to not to feel like, hey, we've already made the team, and not play it to their best abilities till the end of the season. So he's going to wait till the big day after the Super Rugby, maybe the last week, to announce the team. So yeah, I've already mentioned Kalen Doris is injured. He's going to be outlined for 4 to 6 months. Not going to be available for the Lions tour, and it is a little bit sad. Just like literally the weekend before the selections, and he was out. Moving on to South Africa, the Rassie, Dr. Rassie, has named a 54-player alignment camp, and this includes overseas players and domestic players. And yeah, there was some new players being caught up. This guy, what's his name? Not this guy. His name is not Augusta. His name is Ntukuzo Makahaza. Okay, so this guy is going to come out, and he's going to be, apparently just another Curdy Alensa style winger they're going to bring up. So when I saw this name, I literally thought to myself, this guy could either be a winger or a prop, okay? But yeah, it turns out he's a winger for Rassie, and he's just got, plenty of talents coming through. There's a bunch of new guys coming through for them. You can go read it yourself. But a couple big names left out. I think the big one is Evan Ruiz. That was left out. Obviously, there was some injuries as well. But Evan Ruiz, probably the biggest one, a young guy that didn't sort of just got the ball rolling a little bit for the Springboks, and he's left out of the camp. It's a bit of Evan Ruiz is probably the biggest shock to I think a lot of people. Joseph Dweba, he's going overseas. Everybody knows he's kind of like out of the Springbok camp for a while now. Johan Huebelach, also not named the team, and Rassie seems to have another guy already on his radar for the next likely hooker that's going to come through, and that is from the Premiership guy. What's his name? Van der Merwe, as to come through. So yeah, there's a few guys getting overlooked. Marcel Kotzier overlooked as well. Ruan Ventura. Pepsi Buthelezi. I think that's how I say Pepsi Buthelezi also had a bit of a show up at the Springboks last year. I don't think he played. Did he play? I think he played. I do remember him. Yeah, I think he did play maybe 1 or 2 games for the Springboks last year. Not getting anywhere there. And also Senders as well. Not many new moves there for Springbok. Still a bunch of injuries that the Rassie has to juggle with. Frans Malherbe, Elric Lowe, Ben Jackson, Dixon, Dion Faree, and Trevor Nyakani are still all out and not in the camp. So a big name list. You can go have a look at it yourself. It's a huge list you can go through, but Rassie does this every year. And just the one thing that they did mention is that just because someone is not selected in the alignment camp doesn't mean they're not going to be selected in the Springboks at all this year. They could still bring them in based on how people get injured, based on things could change last minute, based on things that the coaches saw in the last, the few weeks leading into the camp, and they can just see something from what you've done and bring you in as well. So it's not out of the question completely for Evan Ruiz to be selected still in the Springboks team. Next up, Johan Huessen, potentially end of his career for the guy. He's limped off on the weekend from with a knee injury, and this could potentially be the last time that he's going to play due to like repeated injuries in his career. So yeah, another unfortunate end to his a season so far, and potentially the end of the career for him. So yeah, another one there. Another bit of bad news as well for the South Africans. Cornel Hendricks died at the age of 37, a former Springboks. I don't have much memory of him, to be honest. I remember I remember the player, but I don't remember any of the games that he played, to be honest. But I definitely remember seeing this guy on the field. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't say too much about him. I think, it's still very young, 37 years of age, passing away. So the All Blacks has been coaching staff. The Brain Trust has been meeting together to potentially put on a squad for 2025. They had the first meeting this week. Is it this week or coming up? And it's, they're going to have France coming up to prepare for. So Razor is, it's starting to putting them down on the list and crossing people off and getting ready for the French coming to visit in July. A big name that has been retained in the All Blacks, Tupova'i, has re-signed to 2027. He's been excellent for the All Blacks and for the Chiefs as a lock. I think he's doing better than Scotty Barrett. He's definitely probably the premier lock right now for New Zealand rugby. And we've got some update on Will Jordan. He limped off the field on the weekend, and he's potentially going to be 4-week injury for him. He's got a knee problem. He's not 100% sure how bad this is. But they reckon he'll return just by initial looks that he'll return before the end of the season. But yeah, not 100% sure yet how bad this is going to be. Good news is the big KK, Caleb Clark, is coming back. I know it's CC, but I like to call him KK. Big double K coming back this weekend. Power, absolute speed for the Blues. The Blues has been building actually quite well, starting to come together as a championship potentially contender, and Caleb Clark only adds to that picture when they go up against Moana Pacifica, and it's gonna be a brutal match coming up for us this weekend. And speaking of Super Rugby, this is the ladder. We've got Fiji and Najura the last. The top 6 making the final this year. So Waratahs is just basically hinging on the edges. It's looking a bit tough for the Waratahs to make it. Moana Pacifica as well really wants to get in the top 6 to get that first opportunity at the playoffs. And it's going to be tough, but it's not impossible for Moana Pacifica. They've been had such a great season. I really wanted them to get up there, but if you look at the top 6, very stacked. I mean, Hurricanes and Blues, number 1 and number 2 last year, number 1, number 3 last year, I think. It's just, I don't know who. I mean, Reds might fall out. I mean, it's almost impossible to see any of these teams falling out of the top 6, but anything can happen. It is rugby, 3 weeks to go. We've got Hurricanes versus Highlanders at home, Waratahs versus Crusaders tomorrow night. That's a big one. Jura versus Western Force on Saturday. Moana Pacifica versus the Blues Saturday afternoon, and then Saturday evening Brumbies versus the Reds. It's gonna be tough for. I mean, Waratahs needs to win this week against Crusaders to have any chance to make into the top, and they also need other teams to go into the other games to go into their favor as well after winning. Danny Kerr announced he's going to retire by the end of the season. The veteran, I think he's got over 100 caps for England, maybe. And then we've got Ronan O'Gara. When I saw this, I laughed. He's banned for 5 weeks in France for abusing the referee again. So yeah, just screaming French and at the French referees. And he's going to be out for the remainder of the season. He's been banned. He's been banned how many times now? There's multiple times he's been banned for bad behavior by Ronan O'Gara. What a legend. Next up, the Challenge Cup and Champions Cup finals has been made. The Holly Davison will be getting the Challenge Cup referee as the final, and then Nika Ashuma Kelly will be the Champions Cup final referee for the 2 big matches. And that'll be interesting to watch. 23rd to 24th. That's next weekend. Yes, next weekend, not this weekend. Next weekend, and then finally, King Carlos has got himself a job as a coach at a college, which is a university, I believe, in Ireland. So Terranua College RFC. Oh no. Wait, yeah, that's a Dublin club. Yeah, so so he's getting a job at a college coaching some rugby. So good for him, and lucky for the club to have someone like King Carlos at the camp. So yeah, congratulations and good luck, have fun, Mr. Carlos, and thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know about any of the stuff that you saw today, and I'll see you guys later for Super Rugby reviews. Have a good one. Cheers.